From the boardroom to the community, from tech startups to mental health advocacy, Myra Maloba presents to you the Women Per Excellence podcast. Each week, join the queen of interviews as she takes you through visionary women who are breaking barriers and leading change. Together, let's amplify these remarkable voices, inspiring the world, one story at a time.
Welcome to part 2 of the episode where we are talking about empowering communities that is transforming lives, a journey of legal aid, wellness, and resilience. We do have Sumayyah Ruguru with us and Iwan Wanja. Welcome back.
Thank you.
First of all, for you, Sumayyah, you're still studying.
Law.
How are you applying law into what it is you're doing, especially because you're not fully
into the legal field?
Yes.
Well, I'm able to guide on the procedures, so which sometimes it makes the process a bit easier for the victims, because he or she already knows what he or she is about to face. And I'm also able to identify gaps within the judicial system that we as Sumayyah Foundation might be able to try and create a bridge between that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you usually get like legal assistance as well?
Yes. We actually have a law firm that does pro bono cases for us.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. When it comes to economic empowerment, which came up the other day, when it comes to that, do you think it also still plays, despite the remarks, do you still think also it plays a big part in empowering the girls that you talk to?
Well, yes, it does, because, that financial dependency, especially between intimate partners, it creates some sort of barrier where the victim feels like, hey, now my husband has been assaulting me. If I leave, I won't be able to fend for myself.
Right.
Yeah, I'll be out on the streets. I won't have anything. So most victims choose to stay silent and accept the situation.
Right.
Yeah.
So, of course, in your line of work, have you been able to identify people that are able to work with you in regards to that, in regards to empowerment?
Yeah. So there are vocational trainers who we actually source for and invite them over. So they are able to teach practical skills, and sometimes some businesses like soap making.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so they learn about soap making and they're able to now start making, and they can now get some profit out of it and be able to at least maintain their lifestyle. Yeah, and during our camps, we also invite women and also men, who are entrepreneurs and who are able to offer business advices, to the girls during the camp. So this can be able to at least boost them.
Right.
Yeah.
Give me just a little bit of a breakdown. When you go to the schools, what do you aim to impact?
What we aim to impact? Okay, so I believe when we go to schools, the objective we try to fulfill is to educate and create awareness. And by doing so, we talk to these people. First of all, usually talk to them first about sexual assault, define it for them. And she actually does that. She defines rape. She defines things like catcalling her, she defines fondling, gender-based violence for these kids and for these young people. And we also talk to them about assault itself. I mean, not assault, but consent, coercion, like the situations in which you can be coerced into doing sex. People who cannot consent, like minors, elderly people, psychologically impaired. We talk to them about these things, bystander intervention, what to do when you get raped. Like, we take them through the process. So our main aim is to actually ensure by the end of, let's say, this education program we have, or this mentorship we provided with these kids and boys and girls, like, they've learned something.
Right.
You know, especially on consent. I've come to realize, like, when you visit, especially young boys and girls in schools, you find that they don't know much about consent. They don't know, like, unaweza sema no, ni maanishe no. They usually also have ideas like sometimes a no means a yes, or because I kissed this girl yesterday, I can kiss her tomorrow without asking.
Right.
You know, so they come to learn. You know, they learn, and by learning is empowering, and it's also impacting them in a way that even when they're providing us with questions, you know, you can find them talking about experiences, or like asking, like, if I do this, this, and this with someone, is it sexual assault, or is it good, is it bad? And then you're able to answer them. And hence, when someone is leaving the room, unasikia amepata kitu, amelearn kitu. So I would say that is how we impact them.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you end up getting peer mentors or peer facilitators within the schools that you visit, so that the conversation continues? Yes.
Yeah. Actually, one of our goals this year is now to introduce Sumayyah Foundation club in schools. Where we visit them more often and we keep the conversation going.
Right.
And we're also able to assist them adequately. Yeah. You know, once we build that rapport, it becomes easier for them to even open up and tell us more and more, and we can be able to assist them.
Right. I don't know how it works nowadays. I mean, nowadays, but when we were in high school, they just used to come and show us videos for STDs and tell you not to have sex. And that was
exactly honestly, that was it even for us. You know, like. But
you know, since we were in school also, our approach, I would term it as better. Because you know, we are able to interact with them, we understand them, we were them,
right?
You know, because we are pretty young ourselves,
right?
Yeah, so we are able to actually understand the things that they are going through,
and also empathize.
And also empathize with them.
Right.
Yeah.
That is something that also still lacks, even still within our education system, and victim blaming still happens. A lot. Even with those who are in charge of children.
You know?
So when it comes to the foundation, how do real life stories or case studies make a difference within what you do? So
we are able to now adjust the foundation's goals effectively. Because, for example, that scenario we used where we went to that rural area, and we realized that their approach to us was
hostile.
Hostile. I was about to say negative, but it was a bit hostile. Now we're able to come back and we're like, okay, guys, we went to this school. This was a response. How can we help them in another way? Or what can we do? What can we do to make the information have an impact towards them, or they can get educated? So coming back to the drawing book and readjusting our goals to fit specific needs of different communities.
Which are the unique mental, physical, and social challenges that the foundation, your foundation has faced? What would you say are the unique ones? And how did you manage to address them?
The unique
mental, physical, and social challenges that you've come across.
Okay, I would say one of the major things that I would say is engaging with young girls and boys that, you see, like the story for the rescue center, you find that very young girls are already pregnant.
Right.
And I will give even an example of my own rural area, maybe my countryside or where my grandmother lives. I'm sorry. You know, she has neighboring people who live around there. You find young girls and adolescents. Most of them give birth as early as 13, 14. They even have 2 kids, some of them.
Wow.
And I recognize even this one girl who lives really close to my grandma. She's both deaf and dumb, and she's a single mom. You know, so you find these patterns. You find that the very unique challenges that young girls face is like, you know, this young exposure to sexual activities because they are not educated.
Right. Yeah.
You know, so that's one of those major challenges. And coming back to thinking about how we can impact or adjust, sometimes it can be challenging because, you know, unlearning, you know, you have some of these guys actually have been in this culture for so long, wamelearn ndio the norm.
Yeah.
So kwenda hapo for them to unlearn first that what happened to you is even not, should I say, not good, or is injustice, you know,
so that they can learn
it's on normal
some
even, you know, it might have even given you a trauma that you're not aware of, you know. So I guess your challenge, your unique honor like very young girls, like 1 out of 6 girls you'll find has been pregnant or has been assaulted and they are not aware. So yeah, I'd say that.
Yeah. And also to add on to that, I would say that one of the things that we really stress on when we visit the schools especially, we tell them that, you know what, we are presenting you guys with information.
Right.
It might be new to some of you and it might not. So give us that space to actually tell you. You know, you can go back and sit and analyze the information, but just give us that space to introduce something new to you.
Right.
Yeah, because, you know, how you perceive something is really important. Because if you start with just a bad mindset, like you won't get anything out of it.
Negatively,
so we are usually like, you know, we know that you guys know, and also us, we know.
Right.
So give us the chance to tell you what we know. Then you tell us what you know.
Right.
So we can come to an agreement or meet at the center, and we can expound on those issues better.
And even on a broader societal level, I believe a very unique challenge, especially right now, is, you see, like the rising cases of femicide. You see, like I was looking at statistics the other day. I think all of us have seen, like, you're the 129 women
between January and March.
From January to March. And then, calculate. I did a calculation. I was like, if you calculate one woman died every day in those 3 months, there's still 39 more. Like, because there were like
43 in January, 42 in February, and 44 in March.
So you see, the month has more days than the number,
which means that more than one woman dies every day
still
in Nairobi.
But still, we will argue with people. You find people with opinions that denounce the female and not the perpetrator.
Also victim.
Even right now, they see the debate. You see, like, even with the recent comments by the politician, I remember, like, there are people who are actually supporting what she said. You know, there are some
society.
A friend of mine actually was saying it's survival of the fittest.
Yeah, which is
take care of yourself as a girl. And he even said somewhere in that comment that if he had 10K, he can calculate up to 6 girls who could come to his place.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So girls, take care of yourself.
That is
the victim blaming mindset.
You know, and I wonder why.
Like, why would it come back
like
to the
and
females?
I was actually asking the person, like, why not just say you as a man
Don't kill
a person because they came to your house, or like don't rape them because they want money. You know, like, is it grounds
mothers
really?
and sisters? I never understand these sentiments coming from.
Yeah, but theirs is an exception. They'd be like, oh, if it's my sister, it's something different. But other sisters of other people,
or if it is
which is so sad.
Sorry to say, let me use this example of the 6-month-old baby who had been defiled,
assaulted.
And let's use a normal teenager who has been assaulted by a man. You will find that the same people, kwa huyu mtoto mwenye alidefailiwa wako like, hey, your time wanaweza sema huyo the dad amefanya kitu mbaya. Wanasema like, hey, amekosea huyo in that particular case ni vibaya. But like ikikam kwa huyu mwingine mwenye ni teenager, ni msichana mkubwa, amerepiwa, tuseme alikuwa anatembea usiku. Simple example.
So why were you working at night?
Alikuwa anatembea usiku.
The rationalization, it's ridiculous.
You wonder, same case scenario, different reaction.
Right. So with that being said, have you come across women of power in leadership who have affected positive change?
Yeah,
we have.
Yeah.
In fact, recently we did go for a launch called
Sumayyah Foundation.
And wow,
we met some very great women. And the founder, she's called Mrs. Jackie Kiaraho. She's a very wonderful and inspiring woman. And the change she's made is just absolutely
interesting, even
remarkable.
Because, she had formed, I think her organization is for widows. And making their voices
being heard, like Paza
Sauti, widows, women, vulnerable women. And there were testimonials, by the way, of like a few people who came and talked about Miss Jackie or her work in their lives. And wow. And Miss Jackie aside, there were so many other
incredible women. Like we were in that space and we were like, yes, this is the space
women
we want.
Tech,
this is the space we want to be included in.
You know, there was even women as old as 80.
Yeah.
You know.
And they've done incredible stuff, you know.
And they
educated.
And they talk to us. And they're like, most of them are widows, by the way, because this was an organization. It was like, you know, there was, I mean, we were 8-year-old, alikuwa widow, amekuwa widow for like 40 years. But the impact
she's done,
it's crazy.
Mesmerizing.
So
shout out to them. But do you also come across positive male allies as well? In the cause?
Wow, that's a good question.
Yeah, okay. I would say the men we work with in Sumayyah Foundation, first of all. I'd like to recognize them because, you know, it's hard getting men in those spaces, but they do it. And we are happy to have them.
Our
And
lawyer
personally for me,
is also Our lawyer is the man, works very well with us, always willing to help. In fact,
Yashim, he's called Yashim.
Yeah, he donates like for our camps and like shows up for all, you know. So such men actually are very also empowering.
Right.
And also the men who like when we
show up for girly camp. Because, you know, we also invite men as allies.
Men like Jeremy.
Yeah.
You know, men like Jeremy.
Yeah.
You know, they work so hard for us to even be in such spaces. So I'd say quite a number, of course.
Great. Shout out to them as well.
Yeah.
Now, tell us about the girly camps.
So, as we've said earlier, one of our outreach program is reaching out to secondary school students because that's our age gap. But within that, we realized that there was another gap because, excuse me, according to statistics by UNESCO, recent statistics, it says that primary school enrollment is at 80 to 90%, while that of secondary school actually drops below to 50 to 60%. And it can drop even lower in rural and marginalized areas to 40%.
Right.
So we asked ourselves, how can we reach those without access to education? You know, because that gap was huge. So we said we'd pick a certain area in Nairobi where we do research, and from the research, we can recognize that this area experiences high rates of sexual violence.
Right.
Then we would go to that area, gather girls from around that area, bring them together for a day full of learning. And we'd not only educate them on matters of SRHR, we'd also educate them on economic empowerment, mental health, leadership, you know, body positivity, and all those things. And we'd also bring about influential people who'd be able to also deliver those objectives to them.
Right.
So that was the whole idea behind Girly Camp.
Okay.
And, you know, of course, we'd offer them lunch because we don't want to put them the whole day there and not feed them at the very least.
Have fun.
And have fun, and also give them sanitary towels.
Yeah.
That is just an enticement we use. So that was the whole idea behind Girly Camp. And the first edition, we had it in Jericho, where we were able to gather around like 50 girls. And it was a very good day. And the second edition, we had it in Ziwani, Karioko, where our reach increased by 20 more girls. So we were able to educate like 70 girls.
Amazing.
Yeah, and this year we are going to Mathare at the end of April, where we aim to target 100 plus girls from that area.
Amazing.
So they can come for a full day of learning and creating impact. Yeah.
Amazing stuff you guys are doing on top of being in school and everything else. Like you're really empowering through in an amazing way. So for people who wanted to say partner with you, what would you say would be the way that they can partner with you, and what would the needs be in that partnership?
Well, first of all, we are welcome to partnerships because, you know, as I said earlier, combating sexual assault, it requires collective effort. It's not just a one-man or a one organization thing. So the more organizations we get, the better. And they can reach out to us via our social media handles or email, which is Sumayyah Foundation @gmail.com. And on various social media pages, our handle, is still Sumayyah Foundation.
Okay.
Yeah, and in ways which they can help. So they can assist us in either voluntary work in areas such as mental health, and also
vocational training.
Vocational training for the economic empowerment.
Crocheting,
people who can be able to assist.
Those things,
Okay.
And also in-kind donations, like pads or,
Okay.
we also accept that. And also monetary contribution, which can be used to facilitate the camp. And we actually have a till number.
Okay.
So
it's fine.
I'm not sure of it. Just 1 minute, let me confirm. I don't want to give out the wrong one.
It's all right. I think when we're putting together the podcast, you just give it to us and then we'll put it out.
Okay. Yeah. So those are the ways in which you can be able to help us.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Great. Parting shots, especially when it comes to women in leadership and how they can help progress the conversation. What would be your parting shot to that?
Okay. I would say it's important to create a space where to create a space where these girls, instead of seeing you even as a authoritative or an authoritarian, you're creating a space where they can be able to rise together with you, you know, creating a space where they feel empowered. Also a space where, like, even though they may have been silenced before, a space where their voice can be heard. Yeah.
Amazing. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and, you know, leadership for me, as she has said, it's not just about rising and being the, the authoritative one and the controlling one.
Right.
Now, leadership for me is met with compassion and empathy, because I want to, how do I put it? I don't want to be the only one who's at the top.
Right.
That wouldn't really fulfill me. I would like all of us to rise. It's not just me, it's me and other girls and everyone. So all of us, we are standing up.
Yes.
And actually our theme for this year, Girly Camp, is rise, reclaim and rebuild. So the rise aspect of it is, the breaking of silence. And reclaim is now reclaiming back your power and your energy. And rebuild is just rebuilding yourself and your community. So the same applies to my leadership. And because I would love all of us to rise, reclaim, and also rebuild.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Amazing stuff. Amazing work that you and your team are doing. And of course, if you do want to support the ladies, they've given you the information. We'll also be putting it at the bottom of the screen during the podcast. At least share the information, as well as, of course, the till number as well.
Yeah.
So we can effectively support you.
Yeah.
Thank you, ladies, so much.
Thank you so much
for joining
having
us on the
us.
podcast. Thank you as well for being vulnerable enough to tell your stories. We appreciate it a lot.
Thank you.
And we
Thank
look
you so
forward
much.
to how far you will take this. You're doing an amazing work.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you so much for having us. It's a pleasure to be here.
No problem.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here. So, ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of today's episode. Catch you at the next one.